I would like to know how to say it in Arabic.
Is that it? K La Paz?
No,
Oh,
Spanish, Arabic, Japanese.
Yeah. K La Paz.
And
For the leg
Hebrews,
side.
German. Because of our, we have students. Yeah. There he is. Okay, go ahead and squeeze in. Come tight. So yesterday when I did forward and putting this in, I just felt like tremendous energy. And like people were walking by and feeling it and stopping and like feeling it. And it was like this great feeling of joy. But when I saw it this morning, I felt sadness. And yeah, I do feel sadness because this is one instrument of peace. This is one antenna of peace. Think about all the like antennas and instruments of war that surround us all the time. Our own thoughts, everything around us. And so there's this one thing, but what's important about this one thing is it reflects to us that we ourselves have the potential to be ourselves as instruments of peace. And part of being an instrument of peace is not turning away from what the situation is. What the situation is not good, as Peter said, as we hear. I remember back in the 80s, there's a 9-second clip of Buckminster Fuller, and he says, someone asked him a question like, how does it look for humanity? This was probably 82, 83, and he says, well, he said, at this point it's touch and go, but don't give up, because if you do, we're not going to make it. So that was like, back in the 80s, and since then, I remember the 80s, I was a teenager. I mean, a lot of the shit was starting then, we were aware of Reagan. As teenagers, we were aware of all the shit that was changing during that time. And it was just coming down the pipes, and all the things that we're experiencing now, especially here, many of those things started then. And so, it doesn't look good. But what's the alternative for us to like go whatever and kind of like pack it in? And certainly there are a lot of options, and one option is to practice Aikido, but to practice Aikido not as a self-endeavor, but as an endeavor that has its purpose of really like ending war and ending fighting and ending conflict, which we all have inside of us, which I have inside of me all the time right now. So when I look at this, I want to like feel its vibration. I want to see it as a reflection. And I want it to be a reminder to not turn away from the instruments of war that I see around me and inside of me. And John Sensei talked about it today in terms of undoing the fear. As the fear begins to unravel, as we misogi that part of us, love is not something that we have to like get. It's something that is. It's our state. It's our base. So I'm feeling a mixture again of great sadness, responsibility, but also great joy, because this thing did not come together from me. It came together from something else, and somehow all of us community people came together to make this happen. And it really felt like, not a doing, but an allowing. And it came together gracefully. We had the main people, Jim, and where's Marianne? Marianne's somewhere over here. Where are you? Right? Who like I went to them and said, hey, will you help lead the fundraising effort? And there were people who stepped forward and reached out to their families and donated time and just kind of like somehow saw it too, saw the vision, and felt like, yeah, let's get behind that, right? Eric donated so much like amazing chocolate. Right?
And Diane's cookies.
Yeah. So it was big, and it's a big deal for me too, because it's moving out of a culture, a dojo culture that was centered around me as like whatever, the sensei, and it's like a dojo culture that's centered around something else, and we're all doing our part. And so Ben, my friend who's been staying in the dojo, who I met when I was 14. Interestingly enough, we met we were going to fight somehow, and then something happened and we ended up liking each other and not fighting, but he installed the pole. And someone asked him yesterday, said something to him like, thanking him for doing. He said it wasn't me, it was like, it was the I forget what he said. He said like it was the universal force, it was just working through me. So if we can do this here with so much grace, with so much ease, without so much love, maybe we can do it more here, and maybe we can do it more here, or maybe we can do it more with our families. And so let's, do it. Again, like Buckminster Fuller said, it's touch and go. It's really touch and go. And so don't give up, because if we give up, it's done. And so those are my words. And it's not just me. So if anyone has a poem or words, or it doesn't have to be deep and profound, but maybe you feel moved too, please speak.
Always we hope someone else has the answer. Someplace else is better. Sometime it's going to all work out. This is it. No one else has the answer. No place else is better, and it has already worked out. At the center of your being, you know who you are and what you want.
It's probably a poor paraphrasing of a saying by Sensei, but if I remember, it goes, there are many paths to the top of the mountain, but they all lead to the same summit, and that summit is love.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I think it's worth noting that it's an affirmation of something. It's not anti-war, it's pro-peace. And the Quakers and Davis had a sign at first saying war is not the way. And then they discussed it and said actually we should say peace is the way. And that's so in concert with Aikido and peaceful, we really love that peace. It's a positive thing.
I think it's great to acknowledge the languages too that have been chosen and what that means for this day in terms of moving forward. And we have Hebrew and Arabic and Japanese and English and German, and I think maybe right now even recognizing that the energy that we're kind of fomenting right now is needed so much in many parts of the world, and we are and I'd just like to acknowledge what's happening around the world and that are represented by the languages that we've chosen today.
Any chance I get to do Norito, I'm going to do it. So those of you who want to join in and do Norito, and if you don't know Norito, just feel inside of you and feel the vibration and connect to the feeling. It's not so much the words. So 2 bows, 4 claps, 1 bow.玉原に元罪を休めよ神あまたの神々をつどえてとことはに神つまりますかもろぎかもろみのみこともちてかむいざなぎのみことつくしのひむかの立ち花のらのあはぎが原にみそぎ払いたまう時になりませる払いどの神たちもろもろのまがこと罪汚れを払いたまい清めたまいと申すことのよしを天津神国津神青よろずの神たちともに雨の淵駒の耳振り立てて ひこしめせとかしこみのまおすかけまくもあやにかしこきあいこのみこと守りたまいさきはいたまいめこのみこと守りたまいさきはいたまいかながらたまちはいませかながらたまちはいませOkay, send love. Everyone, just 30 seconds of sending and receiving. Feel yourself as an antenna. Tuning into and broadcasting peace, love. Freedom. Thank you so much, everyone. Peace Bowl is dedicated.